Welcome to the show today. We are so excited to be here with Wendy Damonte. Wendy's expertise is building and creating relationships that benefit her community and the organizations she represents. As a news anchor and Healthwatch reporter, Wendy talked about the things she is most passionate about: health, exercise, sports, moving your body, and giving back. She is an award-winning journalist with a passion for helping improve lives in Northern Nevada. As the Vice President of Public Relations for Each One Tell One, an organization formed to inform women of the dangers of dense breast tissue, Wendy also presented a TED Talk on the same subject. She's an athlete. She swam for the University of Nevada and currently competes in triathlons and is an avid mountain biker. She's also a public speaker, motivating people to live their best lives. Currently, she is the executive director of the Martis Camp Foundation. Welcome, Wendy. What an introduction.
Who is that person? That sounds really impressive, and I don't feel that impressive. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining. And you are that impressive. I mean, let's just own that. You should, because you really are.
Well, thank you. I guess that just means I'm old because it sounds like I've done a lot of things. But I guess looking back, I really have done quite a bit. And I am proud. I am proud of all the things that I've accomplished and where I am today.
Let's talk about, one of your talking points is being flexible in how you perceive yourself. Even just based on that introduction, it's interesting how we might perceive you and how you perceive yourself and how you present yourself. So can you give us a little background there?
Absolutely. When I look at myself, I think I'm a journalist. I am a news anchor. That is who I am. And I think the community looks at me the same way. But I have to, and I think everyone has to, become flexible with their own perception of themselves. And the reason I say that is because when the last, couple years that I was on TV, anchoring the nightly news, during commercial break, talking with my co-anchor, saying, what are we going to do with the rest of our lives? What are we going to do? What would we do after this? We live in a very narrow field. I mean, if you're a journalist, you're either going to a different market. I mean, I probably could have gone to CBS in San Francisco or Dallas or who knows where, but I wanted to be something else. I was tired of being on TV. It's actually a really hard existence. It was a lovely existence, and I did it for 21 years and absolutely am so grateful. But what happened was that skill set actually created soft skill sets that I wasn't really aware of. But kind of the people in my universe said, well, look at yourself, Wendy. You're a spokesperson. You're a leader. You are a public relations expert. You're a communicator at the highest level. And wow, how about if we take some of those skills and put you into position that those are required, those skills are required. And so I thought, oh, I don't have to be a journalist. I could become a vice president of community relations. I could become an executive director of philanthropy. And those were things that I didn't really see myself as, but my universe saw me as being accomplished in those things. And so having more of a flexible perception of who I was and what I had to offer has allowed me to leave the anchor desk and jump into healthcare, into philanthropy, into leading organizations. And it's really been eye-opening, really for me too, as well as I'm sure everybody who has kind of watched my career progress from news anchor to where I am today.
Can we talk about that process a little bit? Because I'm from Northern Nevada. I have had you in my home, like you said, for 2 decades. And I want to be clear, you're not just a news anchor. You are a local celebrity. You are the local celebrity. You are the face of our town. And that for so long, like you said, that was your identity, that presence. To make that actual shift and almost give yourself permission to perceive yourself differently had to be so scary. And I think that probably a lot of women have this very narrow view of who they are. They're probably defining themselves by one or two things. And it's probably they're defining themselves by their career that they probably worked their tails off to get to, and you don't want to risk it now because you finally got to where you are, and probably being a wife and mom, right? Like we kind of pigeonhole ourselves to those couple of things. Can you talk about the process of kind of surrendering to perceive yourself differently?
You called it scary. I would call it terrifying. It really was terrifying to leave that comfort career. I mean, I used to say, oh, I'm kind of on autopilot. I'm so good at what I do. I can show up to a newsroom and literally be on TV about 3 minutes later and nobody would know that, I had just breezed in the door. I could pick up a microphone on a live shot anywhere in Northern Nevada or California, and I could talk intelligently about what was happening in front of me. I was so dialed into that world. So leaving it, I thought, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And then to jump to healthcare. And the whole thing about me jumping to healthcare is, I kind of let my universe know that I was ready to leave the anchor desk. And by letting your universe know, I mean, what does that even mean? What is a universe? Well, for me, it was my close-knit friends. It was the relationships that I had built by interviewing so many people here in Northern Nevada. And I want to make a point that I think is really important. When you leave a job or you leave, a department, you take those relationships with you. I think a lot of people think, oh, well, I, used to be that. And so those relationships that I built over there on that far left-hand corner, they have to stay there. That is not true. We need to always bring our relationships with us. We earn those. They are ours, to move forward with. So I had a lot of people in this community say, okay, Wendy, how can I help you? What doors can I open for you? And it ended up being one of my dearest friends. We were on the shores of Lake Tahoe. And she said, so are you really going to be on TV for 21 more years? And the way she said it, I was like, ew. Like, that sounds really hard and not so fun. So she said, well, I work at Renown. Let me throw your name around Renown. And I said, okay, great. And that was the first time that the scariness kind of took a step back, and I thought, okay, I could see myself somewhere besides being just a journalist or Wendy Damonte of Channel 2. I could maybe take that leap of faith and go into healthcare. And so it took months, like all big things do. It was kind of a back and forth. I finally made the decision, went into healthcare, and that's when things got really scary. I'm not going to say it is not like this wonderful thing. You take this jump and you're like, oh, this is so great.
Your whole identity has been challenged in that moment. And I think with all the rhetoric around finding yourself, being your true self, being authentic to yourself, it can be challenging when those in your universe, as you put, I love how you put that, sometimes they can sway us. And sometimes that might not be a positive thing, but it sounds like in your case, your relationships, those assets, those really valuable relationships that you had cultivated and built, they were kind of pinging you and encouraging you and helping you not change your identity, but add to it, expand it, and make shifts comfortable and supported.
That is 100% accurate. I could not and likely would not have said it as precisely as you just did. I think we have to listen to our universe and be willing to say yes when it's really uncomfortable, because this was really uncomfortable for me. I was super excited. Yes, I'm an all-in person, but showing up on that first day, it was like, oh, whoa. Everything in healthcare is an acronym. So I would sit in meetings and I'd walk out and say, I don't know anything that is going on. I don't even understand the language that they are talking. But you know what? I believed in myself. I believed in the person that I had grown into. I was, again, being flexible with my perception. And while I didn't understand the language, I was an expert communicator. And I thought, well, if I don't understand the language, the community probably doesn't understand the language. So I am going to boil it down to being absorbable by people not in the industry and saying, hey, here's how this company can help you get healthier.
Well, and I think that's incredible too, because it would have been very comfortable and very okay even, it sounds like, for you to stay in your career path that you had before. Putting it out there and taking that initial step to say yes, but then asking your community that you've been bringing along with you and had and build around you, almost the what else can I do? Because I think some of us get so caught up in like the what we've been doing, and it's comfortable and I know it and it's cozy and I've been driving to the same place for 20 years. And having somebody else look at you a little bit and all these other great people in your life saying, but that skill could be brought to a higher level here. And that helps you change that perception. And now you were able to take this whole skill set in from one area and transform it into a completely new business and a whole new identity. So those 4 years, it sounds like those 4 years were kind of a growth period of transition.
100% growth period, 100%. And you kind of feel like, at that time, I was in the kind of creeping up to the top of the apex of my career, right? I mean, I'm not 25. And to realize in my mid 40s, I'm having a growth period, that's exhausting. I mean, for the first 6 months, I would go home with a huge headache because growth is sometimes painful. And for me, I think it translated into weird dreams, not sleeping well, and headaches. But I did grow over those 4 years. And it was interesting to me that I went into that particular position really as the health person. But again, I had to be flexible with my perception of myself because everyone else saw me as something different. Because one day my boss walked into my office and said, I need you to pack up your things. I'm moving you to the foundation. You're going to go run the foundation because the top 2 people just left. And talking about the Google, I'm like, Renown Health Foundation, what does that do? I was like, oh my gosh, it's the philanthropic arm. I don't know how to raise money. I've never done that in my life. But someone saw that in me that I could probably be successful in that. So I ran across the street, packed up, or got my office ready to go over there, and we blew doors. I mean, I ran that thing for less than a year and we broke every record. So again, it was that somebody else almost had more faith in me and saw more ability in me than I did myself. And then I moved over and had this amazing opportunity. And that opportunity actually led me to my current day job.
Other than all of the support and encouragement you had from your universe, what drove you? What had you hanging in there? Was it confidence? Was it curiosity? Was it passion? Was it like go with the flow and, they're saying I should do this, so okay, I will? What had you hanging in there driving all of this?
That is such a great question, Jackie. It's a great question. I think all of those things you mentioned definitely played a role. I can tell you confidence was kind of on shaky ground, right? When you're constantly being moved into a new boardroom, you're like, oh, God, I'm the dumbest one in the room again. And so your confidence, you have to build it up. It was honestly just my faith. I am, an incredibly faithful person. I feel like I am on God's journey, and I was just like, okay, God, you're taking the wheel for a while. And interestingly enough, I mean, I kind of feel like my whole life has been like that. I feel like I have never made a huge decision all on my own.
Every day you hear about people making money by investing in IPOs and startups. But what about you? These kinds of investments are simply not available to Main Street investors. At Roe Capital Group, we are committed to providing access to strategic, early-stage, primarily low-market correlated investment opportunities. Accredited investors go to roecapitalgroup.com for more information. Roe Capital Group, empowering your financial journey.
With everything you've learned your whole journey, what is your current mantra as you sit here today?
It's so funny. I believe in mantras. I believe that you evolve your mantra. I mean, back in my teens and early 20s, it was no pain, no gain. I lived that because I was a competitive swimmer and you had to hurt to get better. And then I got older and I'm like, I don't want to hurt. So I don't want the pain. I want the gain. And I started doing heart rate training, and that's like no pain at all with all the benefits. I'm like, wow. I can say this is a really weird thing that we're talking today, because I swear I have a new mantra just as of Saturday night. I was emceeing an event at work and I pop out on the stage and this just came blurting out of my mouth. I just said, I'm not the type of person that looks back nor holds back. And as I said it, I was like, oh, whoa, that was really powerful. And I kind of was like, as I'm talking, my brain is thinking about that. I'm like, that is so true. And that's kind of my new mantra. I don't want to look back. I'm not the type of person that looks back. If I were to die tomorrow, I would die with no regrets. I truly would. And so looking back to me it's just kind of not a waste of time, but it's not where I want to have my focus. My focus is forward. What's next? What's going to happen later today? What's going to happen tomorrow and next week and the next 5 years? And I don't hold back. I've had my hand slapped more times in my career than I can count. But it's because I take chances and I believe in my decision making. I believe in the choices that I think are good for either a company or a newscast or a community or myself. I believe in the choices I make. And so I move forward with them. And sometimes people aren't ready for that. Right? Like they slap your hand and they're like, whoa, 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 what are you doing? I'm like, well, this is an amazing, I put together a video vlog, I guess. And I thought it was fantastic and I moved forward with it. And others were like, whoa, what are you doing? How come you're going in that direction? And then, a year later, it's like one of the most watched videos at that company. So I don't know. I think that is my mantra. And it literally is. It's brand new. It's as of a couple days ago.
Congrats.
Thank you. But I'm not looking back and I'm not holding back. So I would encourage everyone to kind of have a mantra and try and see what that says about you and where you're going and maybe, feeds into some of your passions.
I mean, that's beautiful. That's continued growth.
It is continued growth. It feels like continued growth. I can tell you I'm not done growing. At age 50 and a half right now, I feel like I'm not slowing down. I feel like the future is just bright and exciting. And I'm all in on what comes next. I'm all in on, my next mantra. Don't know what it's going to be.
That's why I say congrats. Whether it finds you or whether you seek it out, the power of having a mantra is so opening, liberating. It brings you into a space where you can receive. And that's the energy I think we get from you, is just passion and enthusiasm and this excitement for life. And it's like, what's next? I'm open to it. Okay, so tell us about your side hustles.
Yeah, the side hustle, really, I didn't even know about that term until a couple years ago. And to me, a side hustle really was all about a second job. But then I kind of looked at my life and I thought, well, I have some passions that I'm, working on the side. So for me, it's more like a passion hustle. And what I'm doing is being an ambassador for some really great international companies that I fully endorse, fully believe in, and am willing to put my own personal name and brand behind, such as Juliana Bicycles, PrAna Clothing, Dr. Tiffany McCormick, for really looking good on the outside. That's really important for us, especially, as we get older. But I have a new one and I am so incredibly proud. In fact, this is the first time I've even publicly talked about it. So I guess I'm launching my new passion hustle with you too. It's called 305 Life. And it is all about hydration, supporting heart health, supporting anti-inflammation in your body. And it's kind of funny how this all came about. I have been on a 15-year journey, like full-on search for true good hydration. I've tried tons of different products and nothing has clicked with me. So I was like, okay, I guess it just doesn't exist. And through some serendipitous introductions, I met the founder of 305 Life. He lives here in Reno. And Mark Schenkel and I met one day for a drink. And it wasn't even about this company. It was just to get to know one another. And I probably mentioned, my hydration. He goes, well, I have this company. It's pretty new. It's called 305 Life, and we're all about hydration, all these things. And I was like, what? Like, how? Okay, why am I sitting across the table from you right now? I think it's all because you have this new product for hydration. So we said, well, here, have some packets, give it a shot. So I tried it for 3 months, actually, because I don't ever endorse something that I don't truly believe in. And I knew that this was the best product I had ever tried, because 3 months later, my body literally craved it. I would wake up and just say, okay, Wendy, pack up your stuff, but make sure you grab your packet, whether it's going to be just the everyday life or the energy one or the recovery one, however I was feeling, I would make sure that I had it. I mean, my body just wanted it and needed it. And to me, that is the ultimate testament to a true product that's really good for you. And so I met with Mark, and he introduced me to his partner, Lana, who's a super cool chick in New York City. And she and I hit it off. And they said, okay, well, would you be willing to be an ambassador? And I said, well, I would. But, at this stage of my life, I don't want to just help you grow your company. I want a financial benefit back in my direction. And I have never said that before. Very uncomfortable for me to even.
Hard to ask for.
To ask for. I mean, those words, that was the first time I had ever said, what is the benefit to me going to be? And they were just right there with an answer. Wendy, we're going to take you to the top tier ambassadorship. You're going to be up there. We'll design a contract that makes sense for you. If our company grows, you grow. So I felt like, you know what? Again, another leap of faith, another period of growth. I'm now moving into not just ambassadorship because I believe in something, but ambassadorship that could ultimately help me financially. And this product, again, there's 3 different flavors. The one that's recovery, it's super fun. It's like pineapple coconut. And I'm, just a little side note, if you blend it with coconut milk and add some Bacardi or vodka, it's a great cocktail. Not gonna lie. So you're hydrating while you're getting your buzz on. But it's just a really true product with great ingredients, and it supports all the things that I support. I mean, I totally believe in a healthy heart. My, heart disease runs in my family. So I'm always trying to protect my heart. I believe in exercise, but being out there, you have to be hydrated in order to feel good, in order to want to do it again tomorrow. So this company is just right in alignment with who I am as a person and everything I've been talking about for the last 25 years as a person. And my brand and their brand just kind of came together over a glass of wine. A lot of things in my life have happened over a glass of wine, haven't they?
And now you can do it with a glass of everyday life. So
That's right. That's right.
How do people find 305 Life?
So I have a link. So I have kind of my own code that people can click on. So maybe we can link it to this podcast, which would be great. And then all of my social media is Wendy Damonte. So you can find me on all the different platforms under that. And now that I have officially said this out loud, I will start posting about it. So everyone will see what I'm talking about, and they'll see me outside doing awesome things with this product because they go hand in hand. I'm not just saying, oh, take this drink and feel good. I am saying use this drink to get yourself outside. Use this drink to wake up and feel better. Use this drink to have the best caffeine stabilization. It's like not when you drink a cup of coffee and you get all jittery and you're like a mile a minute. This is incredible caffeine that it almost makes me more laser focused in my work and keeps my energy really high for a long period of time, yet I can still sleep at night. That's really important. But for me, this product allows me to live my life and reminds me to live my life. Like if I'm taking this energy, I'm going to go do something outside. If I'm taking this recovery, it's because I have done something amazing the day before where my muscles need some recovery. So I'm so happy that this happened at this point in my life because I'm more confident in myself. I am at that point where I've given back to this community and my other ambassadorships so much that I could finally take that step and say, I need to benefit too. And I'm okay with saying that.
That has to be such a powerful moment when you take that leap and you ask for the value that you deserve, and then you get a yes back. How affirming. And it is so powerful that you're willing to put your brand on it. I mean, it is truly meaningful, and you can tell that you're fully behind it. You really believe in it. Let's talk about your brand a little bit. I'm not from Nevada, and so I'm learning, and it sounds like you have been the face of Nevada for a couple decades. Can you tell us about your career? And I know just through some friends, there are a couple very special things about your career. Can you share that with us?
I tell you, I always say, and will until the day I die, I was born to be a journalist. I mean, even though I left that industry, that was my defining career. I went into Channel 2 as the newsroom secretary. And because I just wanted to get back to Nevada, I graduated, moved home to California, came back. I just said, give me anything. I don't care. I just want to be in a newsroom. And the news director at the time said, I need a secretary. I'm like, great, count me in. Me and my journalism degree will be there in 2 weeks. So I was the newsroom secretary, and then I was a photographer, and then a producer, and then a weekend, reporter, and then a weekend anchor, a morning anchor, and then I finally became the evening news anchor. And that was just, I just felt like, oh, I've arrived and I'm going to be here forever. And the people I got to work with, I ended my career on the news desk with Kristen Remington, who is still there to this day. And she's still one of my very best friends. Our time on that news desk was definitely, without a question, some of the best of my life.
You and Kristen co-anchored in around 2005. And I want to set the stage. Nevada still, even though we're kind of becoming a little bit more progressive, we are a pretty conservative state. That was a huge, huge deal to women anchoring the evening news in our state. A huge leap for you guys and a huge leap for the station. Can we talk a little bit about the push for that and that big transition, and then also, the results?
I'm sure it was a very hard decision to make. I can remember walking into the news director's office when we were looking for the replacement for the new co-anchor with me, and I walked in and I said, Jason, I think we need to put Kristen Remington in that spot. And he said, you would support that? He was even shocked that I wanted to anchor with another female. And I said, absolutely. No, she's the best anchor we have. Why wouldn't I want to sit next to her? And so then, the company is still privately owned. There's a board. I'm certain that decision, being so big, especially for the state of Nevada, probably went all the way up to, the president of the company. And when they announced it, Chris and I were like, okay, we are absolutely not going to fail. Like, that was not an option for us because we were, blowing through that glass ceiling. We were groundbreaking. We were going to make this work no matter what. And my favorite story about Kristen, she was even kind of a new anchor. Quite honestly, every commercial break, she would reach down and grab the mirror and fix herself and then put it back. And I would just sit and watch her. I'm like, oh my God, she's so amazing. And then, come back up and be just perfect. She was just perfect in every way. And then there was me. It was like, we always used to laugh. I'm like, oh, you're the pretty one and I'm kind of the quirky one. But it worked. It worked perfectly for us. But we were really smart. We were hardworking. Come election nights, I've never seen a woman work harder to get to know every single candidate, to research every candidate. And I'm kind of a fly by the seat of my pants gal, and she had notes on everyone that she had to talk about. And so we would pop up, and talk for hours during election night. And it was because of the hard work that we were able to be successful every single night together. And honestly, one of the proudest moments that she and I both have at the station is in 18 months, we went from number 3 to number 1. So Northern Nevada welcomed us really with open arms.
Bet on women.
That's right. It was really cool, because we were in the homes of the good old boys.
Yeah.
Right? The good old boys were on their couch having their bourbon and whiskey, watching two women giving the news and believing in what they were saying, because that was the product that we produced.
And choosing you every day.
Exactly. Which is a decision, right? They had 3 choices and really, 400 choices, but they chose us every single night, night after night, night after night. And the station just watched our ratings go up and up and up. And talk about hard work paying off and just being so excited to be on that team. Those were great days.
Let's close with this. Wendy, can you give us your latest mantra one more time?
I sure can. It is that I don't look back or hold back.
Love that. Viewers, listeners, we would appreciate if you would come on TikTok and stitch us if you have a mantra. We'd love to hear them. Find us on TikTok, Women TF Podcast, Or visit roecapitalgroup.com and head over to show notes and the blog. Or please email us with questions, media@roecapitalgroup.com. Either way, we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for listening. And Wendy, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you both so much.
This overview is for informational purposes only. We might include some projections, and those should not be relied upon for the purpose of investing. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and any investments we mention are meant for accredited investors only. And any offer can only be considered upon review of a prospectus and relevant offering documentation. So please keep this in mind as we move through this overview, and remember that these are our opinions only.